Good evening, good afternoon, wherever it may be. My name is Sean.
I'm Alex.
And we are recording this at 2:30 a.m. out of a hotel room in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, because we're heading to Kennywood tomorrow. Mm-hmm. We're very excited. We got here a little later than expected.
We have to be quiet because there's probably people sleeping all around us.
Long story short, we got to Pittsburgh at like midnight, and the hotel shuttle wasn't running anymore, which is, whatever. But I guess Pittsburgh just doesn't have many Ubers or Lyft drivers. So we had to wait quite a while, like 45 minutes to get a Lyft or Uber driver. We had to request a Lyft like 6 times. We both tried on our phones. And eventually we just went with the more expensive Uber.
Went with an Uber.
And that's how we ended up actually making it to the hotel, which was also like 20 minutes away. So here we are,
here.
2:30 a.m. recording. But today's topic is cool because we're going to be talking about Universal Beijing Resort.
Yes. We've been wanting to talk about Universal Beijing for a while now, I guess in more detail. Now that they've soft opened, their soft open was on May 18th. Theme Park X has been covering the resort details extensively, so I feel like the information is there. There's so much that they've photographed and talked about on Theme Park X, and no one's talking about it, so we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, so this is kind of more of like pre-official opening. Like, well, what do we think of the park or resort? From the looks of it, what do we know about it? What are we curious about? What's similar? So that's what we'll be doing. And before we do that, it is June 1st. I guess June 2nd now, technically. Yeah. But it is the start of Pride Month.
Yes.
So quick shout out to everyone out there represented by Pride Month.
Happy Pride.
We posted a little story online where we got lots and lots of positive feedback.
Lots of love.
A couple haters.
A little bit of hate.
You know how that goes. But if you're following us and you are like not down with Pride Month, then you can just unfollow us. I don't really care. I don't really need you to be part of our
if you
lives,
don't support lesbian, gay, transgender, bisexual, intersex,
all the good stuff,
all queer people, anyone under the queer umbrella, then this isn't for you.
But for everyone else that they come to our rescue and was super cool.
Also, a lot of people didn't know that we're gay, and not only are we gay, but we are married. Sean and I are married.
Yeah, we posted
our wedding anniversary is in 1 month. Maybe
the most popular post back in June. Maybe not the most popular.
We lost a lot of followers.
Yeah,
we lost like 75 followers when we announced that we got married. That was really wild.
Not only are we married, we also really like traveling together.
Not only are we married, but we go to are in love, and
China.
We're also best friends.
So, speaking of China, that is what we'll be talking about. So, not going to dwell too much on the haters. We're going to just dive right in.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to start with the resort as a whole, like how it's set up. So, the setup is interesting. It's very much kind of like Universal Orlando Resort, but like imagine just one gate. So they have a sort of like a river running through. It's like the greatest hits. Kind of got like a river running through the complex. They've got a transportation center with trains, buses, parking lot.
Yeah, the setup is very Orlando.
And then you have the giant that hovers over the road.
Yeah,
where security is at.
The bus stations and like the parking garage, which it all looks really cool. Google Earth just updated. So.
And then you cross over the road into City Walk. Just like you do in Orlando. And City Walk is separate from where the parks are going to be. Yeah. And then you have City Walk, similar setup. And then you have a bridge that crosses over the river that runs through City Walk.
Beautiful plaza. And then
into a big plaza that has the
Universal
Studios Grand Hotel. Sorry, no. Yeah, is it the Universal Studios Grand Hotel?
I think so. And the other one is there's 2 hotels.
The other one is the Nuo Hotel. So the Universal Grand Hotel or Universal Studios Grand Hotel is a Art Deco, classic Hollywood inspired, like think Brown Derby style. Yeah. And it is also the park entrance.
It's the entrance. It's very Tokyo Disney Sea, Disneyland Paris.
Exactly. Draw those parallels to the Disneyland Paris Hotel and the Miracosta Hotel, Tokyo Disney Sea. You go through the hotel to enter the park, and once you enter the park. That's kind of what will take you on a journey today.
The lagoon is smaller than I expected. It's not like the giant lagoon at like Islands of Adventure
or from the marketing materials.
Universal parks. So the lagoon, you enter the park, and across from you in the lagoon is the Jurassic World, Ilsa Nubar area. Is there an L in it? I thought it was
Yeah,
just
it's
Nublar.
ISLA. It's just like
Isla.
It's an island. It's like an isle.
Is it Nublar or Nubar?
Nublar.
Are you sure?
You can continue talking.
Because I think I made this mistake. I thought I said it was Nublar.
Well, I was saying that's because from the
Nubar.
Hollywood studio tour, they would always say that.
Okay.
Like,
I trust it.
yeah, it's Nublar.
It is Nublar. Okay, it is Nublar.
Yeah. Anyway, so
So,
what were we even talking
the
about?
Jurassic World area is right across from the entrance of the park from the lagoon, and it's really not like that far. There's 4 areas that encircle the lagoon, but that's only like half of the park's areas in total.
Before we talk about the extra areas, I want to talk a little bit more about the hotels. Mm-hmm. So as of right now, there's only 2 hotels that the resorts can open with that are, Universal banner hotels. So they've got the Universal Studios Grand Hotel, which again is that, Art Deco, Brown Derby, classic Hollywood style with lots of touches of like famous landmarks and Hollywood Boulevard and Hollywood sign. It's clean. It's not overly modern. It is definitely a little less spectacular in the rooms than I was expecting, I'll be honest with you. But the kids' suites are cool because they have like that Kung Fu Panda theme, right?
Yeah, a little rickshaw bed. So cute.
So that's really cool. And then there is the Nuo Hotel, which is a little bit off to the side across the water from City Walk. That has a much more of like a modern aesthetic. The buildings are black, white, and gray. About the same size, I would say, as the Universal Studios Grand Hotel, but their rooms have a little bit more of a, like dark brown wood, but then lots of glass, whites, black. Like it's a very clean, modern room.
Yeah.
So that's the hotel I would maybe even pick to stay in.
Mm-hmm.
If it didn't work for a major hotel chain and got better deals elsewhere. But generally speaking, that's the hotel I think that attracts me the most. And I like how it's kind of off to the side in its own little area. So that's cool.
Yeah. It's a little bit more set in. I feel like it's
but it can be the location next to the park is still so close. Like you are so close to the park still. I mean, I guess you may have to go into City Walk technically, and then you will walk over. I'm not really sure how the setup is there.
Yeah.
But it's really close to the park's entrance. So. Yeah, well, let's go into the park. We've got
into the park. Of course, it has a covered midway. It's like the most Asian.
Just like Universal Studios Japan and Universal
and it's
Studios
not like
Singapore.
A giant walkway. Like it's not a giant main street of sorts. You really come up to the lagoon pretty quickly. Then you've got like Mel's Drive-In, New York area, which is this entrance area. Or not New York. Well, I guess is it all Hollywood?
I think
some of it New York?
No, it's all Hollywood.
It's all Hollywood.
The building. So when you come up, it's like an immediate V.
Yeah.
Straight ahead is like a viewing area for the shows.
Yeah.
And then off to the right, you have Mel's Dine-In, and off to the left, you've got like
show setups.
Yeah, you've got like classic Hollywood-looking buildings.
Oh, there are a couple of show venues here. So yeah, immediately to your left is like the show.
Go around. That's we're going right.
Well, I guess it's interesting to point out that like the park really is like 3 or 4 small circles. The lagoon is just encircled by the Despicable Me area, Jurassic Park, and really Hollywood.
The total space available for the park.
Even Decepticoaster, like that whole setup
is really small.
So it's really just the 3 areas that border the lagoon.
Also, unlike the lagoon at Islands of Adventure, this lagoon is very much a fake pool.
Yeah.
When you look at pictures of the water, you can just see like all the machinery on the bottom of the pool. Like it is very much, it serves the purpose more of a show venue than it does to be like a grand central lagoon like the Orlando, Osaka, lagoons are, those 3. And I guess the same goes for Singapore. Their lagoon is very large.
So I guess looking at it, like you could kind of divide it up into 3 loops. And there's like the Hollywood, Despicable Me, Jurassic World loop, and then there's the back loop like to the left that has Transformers and Kung Fu Panda, and then the loop that's to the right from the rear is all Harry Potter and Waterworld. So I kind of dig the deliberately unconventional.
I think the cool thing is
organizing
that
of this park.
Instead of picking a bunch of different things to go on, they have 5 major themed areas. They've got Despicable Me / Minions, they've got Harry Potter, they've got Jurassic World, they've got Transformers, and they have Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah.
And then they have a small area for Waterworld. So instead of, they really went with franchises versus themes.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, comics. No, they literally went with franchises. There's 5 major franchises represented, and that's kind of about it.
And unlike, it's amazing how far we've come from like Universal Studios Florida, which was like all of the themed areas were very like real world. It was like you had Hollywood, you had New York, you had San Francisco.
Yeah.
Like the whole New York and Hollywood are both in Universal Singapore. So this is like the first Universal resort to not feature a New York themed area. Although I feel like the Nuo Hotel is kind of like a New York-y vibe, counterbalancing the Hollywood vibe of the Studio Hotel.
Well, I think it kind of plays in with how Shanghai Disney did it. They really try to take anything Americana away.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they focus so much on old Hollywood only, and that's about it.
Yeah.
That's about the only Americana you're going to find in this park. And I think that's fine. I think, building a major theme park in China,
crazy long
it's
walk,
kind of
like this walkway along the river by City Walk, like it connects to the hub here.
Gorgeous.
Where you enter. It just goes all the way. When you look at this place from a satellite image, like it's obvious that they've got plans. They've got a whole nother plot for a park.
The whole way that it's set up is very
gate.
much like Universal Orlando. So as of right now, when you're approaching, imagine walking up to Universal Orlando Resort. You go over the bridges, you go into City Walk. It's all exactly the same setup, and then you cross the bridge over to IOA.
Yeah,
that's pretty much how the resort is set up right now. And there is space to build a park exactly where University of Florida is, and then there's more space to build Volcano Bay.
Mm-hmm.
As of now, they're rumored to get Volcano Bay before another theme park.
That makes sense.
So yeah, Beijing's copy is rumored to be.
I can't wait to see how they do Volcano Bay, because it's going to be. I would almost bet money that it would be a partially indoor water park, because not everybody knows this, but Beijing is in a very cold climate. It has like a Canada climate. I'm thinking like Toronto.
I mean, all seasons pretty much, because it gets really hot in the summer.
They do have
really
hot summers,
but that's mostly because of pollution. Same with Shanghai.
Yeah,
but it gets cold in the winter, like really.
But
cold.
like we've been to Shanghai Disney in the snow, and Shanghai Disney's quite a bit south. From
like
Beijing.
5-hour train ride south. But I mean, you got to think about it this way. Especially there's a lot of water parks already in that region. It's just about like making it extra income in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Like water parks are profitable.
Yeah, they can afford
to just operate for half a year.
Yeah, they can afford. Yeah, I think you brought this up earlier, but it was like even if their Volcano Bay is only open half the year, they can afford to only run it half the year.
They'll still get the money.
They'll still turn a great
still
profit.
Good investment. But yeah, let's go into the park and let's make a hard left. And the first area after Hollywood that we're going to see is a very interesting area. I'm not sure how to feel about it, which is why I want to start there.
Okay.
It is the Transformers Metro Base. Now, from my understanding of Transformers franchise, which is limited, must admit, is that most of it just like, destructive... they're destruction of cities, like cityscapes, like major cities, just
Michael Bay,
concrete and barbed wires.
Yeah,
and so that's pretty much. And then it's done by Autobots and the Decepticons, and the giant robotic things. But now, when you look at Metro Base, which looks cool, I feel like there's an identity crisis based on the pictures.
It's just kind of busy and clunky.
It's very busy. Every building kind of looks different. Nothing really has an identity.
Shades of Marvel Superhero Island, not just because they have the Hulk clone, but just like it has a very garish busyness to it. And then, of course, Sci-Fi City at Universal Studios Singapore.
It is a lot more like Sci-Fi City, I feel.
Yeah.
So the buildings all have like big metal pieces on them, but they're all different colors. Every building is a different color.
There's lots of bronze and chrome and silver,
and then of course concrete,
brown and copper. Like there's just a lot,
and then a lot of yellow for Bumpy, and then there's the black roller coaster. Yeah. Well, that's actually dark blue and black, which is the Decepticoaster. Now, Decepticoaster, which I'm sure everyone's here for, is the altered Hulk clone. So it's like Incredible Hulk, but it has more of a smooth layout.
It's definitely an updated version of Hulk.
And it's located pretty much in the same position in the park as Hulk, except for a little bit pushed back. Like there is a little more of a grandness to the entrance.
Cross into the area of the park that features Hulk, and it's situated very similarly.
Now, this coaster is just called Decepticoaster. It has vest restraints. B&M,
this is really a unique configuration.
Except for the fact that the layout is just
the first sit-down B&M in a while. And we noticed that the shape of the ride is quite different from what we saw with Hulk, even though it's the same basic like, I guess to call this a Hulk clone doesn't really do it justice. It's got the same elements in the same order, but I think this ride's going to feel a lot different, especially the helix around the launch right before the second corkscrew.
It dives all the way down to the ground.
It comes all the way down to the ground.
It's like a drop.
It doesn't hover over the Q building like it does in Florida. It dives down, and then the corkscrew has the second corkscrew that would be a dive off of the roof in Orlando down into that second vertical loop. This is more of like a giant, like a wing coaster looking giant corkscrew that
it's cool because that navigates
covers
over the Q.
lot
so
of
the
distance.
Q itself has a giant building off into the area.
Yeah, and it's
there's
like this
a
tunnel
tube that connects to the actual station.
The ride has a really, I think it looks quite neat from where we're looking. It's kind of like the back half of the ride is obscured from view, just like in Orlando.
But it's nicely landscaped here because it's not
nice.
like like an actual public road right next to it. But then of course the e-ticket of the area, even for me to Septicoaster, I think for them it's the Transformers ride.
Battle for the Allspark.
Do you guys notice something here?
It's the same ride.
The word battle, to me, it screams like it's an immediate not like attack, but immediate counter to the Shanghai Disney Pirates of the Caribbean Battle for Sunken Treasure. I feel like they really put the word battle there for a reason.
Also, I feel like when you have a whole... This is the first time...
But it's literally called Transformers Ride 3D everywhere else.
The first time... I feel like part of that reason is also because there's other... Like, the center of this area is the little teacup ride, Storm Force Acceleratron, or also known as just the Acceleratron, in Singapore. Here, it's Transformer... Or is it... No, this one's just Bumblebee Boogie. That's what it is. It's
it's themed to Bumblebee's music.
But then there's another attraction here that's Transformers something, and it has the subtitle.
Meets.
It's like the meet and greet.
Yeah, it's called... Please hold. I've got it over here.
I was going to say, we have the attraction page earmarked. But yeah, I've noticed there's technically two rides that are like Transformers something something, and then another attraction that's Transformers something something. Yeah, it was in one of those.
Let's see. Transformers More Than Meets the Eye. Which is
actually the theme song. Transformers More Than Meets the Eye.
Well, that explains a lot.
Yeah.
So that's that.
So the Transformers 3D, I'm guessing was just too vague of a name.
I think one thing that we forgot to talk about in Hollywood area is that there's Lights, Camera, Action.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the Steven Spielberg show created for Singapore?
That's the show here in this theater, right?
Yeah.
Inside the Chinese theater.
He worked alongside a famous Chinese movie director.
I almost want to say, didn't it... I think they moved it from Singapore.
Singapore still has it, I think.
Did they still have it? Because I know there was something that was replaced by the Sesame Street ride.
Oh, no, because they coexisted.
Okay, they did. All right.
So, yeah. That's Metro Base. Metro Base, like I said, it's not my fave, but every theme park needs to have its sci-fi corner,
coaster.
It's thrill ride, so it has that.
The park's other three coasters are family coasters through and through, so this is the thrill coaster. We're not the biggest fans of Transformers the ride, but it's obviously an easy choice for them to have that in the area. I like the area's got a nice mix of things. I like the Bumblebee theme that they went with for the Storm Force Acceleratron type ride.
Next area in line is the Kung Fu Panda area.
Yes. So we're doing the back loop.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is that the Kung Fu Panda area, which is almost entirely indoors, is connected through a midway that is very narrowly wedged between the Kung Fu Panda show building, for the whole area, and the Jurassic World, the ride, the Jurassic World Dark Ride show building. So the Jurassic World area is actually completely engulfed by Park Midway. It's totally encircled, so you can do a whole loop around the Jurassic Park ride show building, and in theory, it's hiding in plain sight. It's obscured, hopefully in a way that's comparable to, I don't know, I guess Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. I don't know if that's a good example of obscuring a giant show building in the center of your park, but it's, for better or for worse, it's kind of that setup. It looks kind of funny from space. I'm sure it looks more natural and straightforward, on the ground. it's kind of just amazing to me that they designed the park this way, where like they've got like a major e-ticket with a giant show building, and it's in the middle of the park.
Well, by building a giant indoor area, you could literally back up the indoor area to a show building in the middle of the park without the show building in the middle of the park looking like out of place.
Something that's worth pointing out is like you might be thinking like, wow, so Kung Fu Panda obviously is a perfect fit for China. It's got its whole area and it's completely indoors. Not only is Kung Fu Panda area completely enclosed, but like major parts of Jurassic World and Minion Land are also enclosed.
And now the main reason is again the weather in Beijing. It gets incredibly cold.
So having
it's
covered areas like the Midway with the Midway roof, and then like totally climate controlled areas like the Kung Fu Panda area and the Aviary in Jurassic World and Super Silly Funland in Minion Land, totally enclosed climate controlled areas are a welcome break from what may very well be a harsh winter weather environment on your visit to Universal Studios Beijing.
Let's go to Kung Fu Panda Land.
Yeah.
So the first thing I want to say is that Kung Fu Panda area was actually meant to be SpongeBob SquarePants' Bikini Bottom. It was supposed to be an underwater area. I think Disney sees Little Mermaid with SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Now, they changed that to Kung Fu Panda because the franchise is successful. They own DreamWorks now. And, of course, they wanted to represent something
I think it's
more
neat.
Chinese.
They really went all in with like something
that
that's
resort.
Like culturally.
And the area turned out great and includes a major e-ticket water ride with 4 stations, to load.
The boat ride looks dope. Like,
if anyone wonders what the original boat ride was supposed to look like, it had a
jellyfish field.
It had some sort of escape scene where it went down to rock bottom. To the rock bottom bus stop, famous.
Iconic.
They went through the kelp forest.
You got a Krusty Krab over here.
Krusty Krab, and then you end up in like giant Bikini
Bottom.
And then SpongeBob's Welcome.
Oh, I think we're looking at the ride in reverse.
Oh.
SpongeBob's Welcome. Yeah, okay. I see.
Oh, so you end with.
So you end in.
Oh, so it's themed to an interview. So SpongeBob's interviewing you. Okay. Oh yeah. Anyways, so that wasn't the original idea, which is cool.
But I think Kung Fu Panda is just like brilliant. I can't believe that wasn't the plan from the beginning. Because I feel like it's just an opportunity to tie together, the local color with something that Universal's doing and that they've had a lot of success with. So the area looks beautiful on the inside. I love that it's indoors entirely because the lighting scheme in there is stunning. Lots of paper lanterns. In fact, there's a spinning flat ride like a Flicks Funfair Flyers / Inside Out Emotional Whirlwind, balloon race type ride, but it's themed to glowing paper lanterns, and it has a funny name. I already forgot what it is, but I remember that it's a funny name. It's like Legendary something, Legends or something. Can we pull it up?
I think it's the Legendary Friends.
Legendary Friends. The names of these rides are honestly great. Like,
well, there's the Kung Fu Panda Journey of the Dragon
Lanterns
Warrior.
of Legendary Legends.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. It's like Epic Universe. Universal's Epic Universe.
And then there's the Carousel of Kung Fu Heroes. So yeah. But it's a cool indoor area. I'm glad that Kung Fu Panda's represented.
They are very family friendly at this park. I mean,
the resort is very much
the Kung Fu Panda area. Yeah. This is the only Universal resort where I feel like
it's really like a
families are equally. Although I guess Universal Beijing having the Madagascar area and the Shrek area. Oh, Singapore, yeah. Singapore's approach with like the Madagascar area and the Shrek area was definitely like a, hey, we're focusing the operation on families pretty squarely, because I feel like Universal in Orlando and even Beijing at this point with their impressive coaster collection, it's like they've always kind of been like, well, we're going to be the thrill ride setup, like we're the thrill attraction, teenagers and young adults ride complement. But Beijing is so well rounded because Kung Fu Panda area and the Minion area are like a really nice variety of great family friendly rides and kiddie rides, and then there's also like great family rides in every area of the park, like major family rides that don't feel like afterthoughts. like, well, I guess, let's see. Okay, so...
Well, I just want to move on to the next thing.
Yeah, this
so
Waterworld.
The coolest thing is that Waterworld is getting so much love and being added.
It has its own little area.
So all 3 Asian resorts have Waterworld, and then there's Waterworld in Hollywood.
Like, it really is truly its own area. It's got, like, a restaurant. That's what this is, right?
Yeah,
it's the Waterworld restaurant.
like a bunch of quick service stuff. And it's a long walkway going all the way to the edge of the property where they build Waterworld, and
but
they built a giant
right
wall
next to
behind it to hide the fact that there's like skyscraper apartment condo complexes.
Wow!
So like you can see it here too. They just built a giant wall, literally connecting nothing, just to hide all the
apartment high rises and stuff.
Because of course, that wouldn't be part of the theme.
This park is very space efficient, and yet there's also lots and lots of room to grow. Like they could double this park easily in size with the expansion pads that they have set aside. It's incredible.
And then, so that's kind of cool, Waterworld. It's just great that it was kind of just built in Hollywood, and it became such a success that it was cloned in Osaka, Singapore, and now in Beijing. And this time around, they really went full out and making it its own area, which is cool because they kind of come up with some creative things that don't at all relate to the franchise.
It's not a big area, but it's a neat bridge. Like, it's a neat connector between the Kung Fu Panda side of the loop and Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
Because for Waterworld, they went through the effort of creating, like, statues and all these, like... There's a lot of scenery, like, photo ops and for the queue for the show. For those that aren't familiar with what Waterworld is, it's based on the 1995, I believe.
Yeah, 1995 film of the same name.
With Kevin Costner, who was a guild mariner of sorts that lived on Earth after all the polar ice caps have melted. So all of Earth was covered by water except for Mount Everest, which is, was dry land because it was mythical. They were all searching for the last remaining place on Earth, but water hadn't touched yet. Long story short, that's just what the franchise is about, and like this war for resources on the open oceans led to like spectacular battles and explosions and that sort of stuff. So that's what the show is all about. And so I'm glad they brought it over to Singapore. I think it's to Beijing. I think it's one of the coolest things they've got going on for them. Next up is what is the biggest area of them all, which is their Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Now, if you were to be looking at maps right now on your own, you would see that the Wizarding World of Harry Potter here is completely separated from the rest of the park. Like, it doesn't touch anything. It's in its own world.
Definitely its own loop, and there's quite a few ways.
Now, there is actually 4 ways of making it from main midways into the area. The first one, following the direction we're coming from, is to take a midway directly past Hogwarts and Forbidden Forest, crossing between the castle and the Black Lagoon.
It's kind of... So they have the Black Lagoon here, and I feel like this walkway, this entrance, if you're coming...
Black Lake, sorry.
If you're coming from... Creature from the Black Lagoon. That's a Universal crossover that nobody asked for. Although it sounds kind of dope. The creature from the Black Lake.
The creature from the Black Lake.
So this approach is not unlike the bridge between Jurassic Park and Hogsmeade at Universal Orlando Resort. And the Black Lake is a body of water that sort of functions in the same general location as the Lagoon's Edge in Islands of Adventure. So this area effectively is a nice little sub-loop. I mean, there's a midway that completely circumnavigates Harry Potter area entirely.
And then there's a midway that connects on the side of the Black Lagoon. Sorry, it's the Black Lake. God, I'm going to keep saying it. On the side of the Black Lake, so between the Black Lake and the backside of the Hogsmeade shops. Kind of like how Hollywood and Osaka have it set up, but Osaka actually has a bit of water.
Yeah.
And then you have the main stretch in the middle of the land with the big square, that leads curved over to Hogwarts and to fight the Hippogriff. And then you've got what I call a Hagrid midway, which is then the smaller midway on the other side of Hogsmeade that also goes past stores and then leads up to where the fight the Hippogriff is.
Speaking of Hagrid, we are going to bet money.
In fact, I already saw other sources also report that the plot that is located next to Flight of the Hippogriff and Hogsmeade, pretty much same positioning as Islands of Adventure, is going to be Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, the next expansion
without a shadow
for
of a doubt.
the Wizarding World Harry Potter in Beijing, which makes sense.
And you can bet that Universal... we've probably mentioned this before, but you can bet that Universal Studios Osaka is going to do...
The same, over by Jaws.
But where Jaws is.
But let's go and talk about the rides. So what we have here is Flight of the Hippogriff. It's a clone
they have the smaller one.
Of
it's
the
Hollywood one
in Hollywood by Mack Rides. Mack did a lot for this park. Like there's like 3 Mack coasters.
Yeah, true.
Really nicely landscaped. Pretty much same setup. The biggest difference is that this is the first Flight of the Hippogriff that's located in a park where it was part of the original construction of the park.
Yeah.
So the queue for it is massive. They've got a pumpkin patch that has switchbacks through it. They've got like a bit of a forbidden forest.
I mean, this whole Harry
switchbacks.
Potter setup at this park is
here.
It's evident that this was the first time that they were able to really
this is also
situate
the
Hogsmeade
only
how they
Hagrid
wanted.
where you can see Hagrid's hut from all sides because of the queue being like going through the patch in the forest. And then they've got another giant set of switchbacks. It is by far the biggest queue I've ever seen for a coaster this size.
I mean, just the switchbacks and landscaping take up like half of the ride.
God, this must be able to hold a 3-hour queue for a kiddie coaster.
You guys,
that's crazy.
The overflow queue for Forbidden Journey. I don't know if everybody here remembers, but like the year that Islands of Adventure opened and Dueling Dragons had like this field of overflow queue. Like it was absolutely tremendous.
So for those that have been to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter in Hollywood, that's what the Beijing queue is set up like. So Osaka and Orlando, the Forbidden Forest / like overflow queue for Forbidden Journey is honestly rather small. But the in Hollywood, Forbidden Journey carries much more of like a presence. Like it's the ride, right?
Yeah.
Besides Studio Tour, and so they created the Forbidden Forest-ish area where the car crashed, where there's a lot of switchbacks hidden between the trees.
Mm-hmm.
That is the same setup they have in Beijing. So
but isn't this one like really set far away though?
It's a little further removed, but it's not like terribly much more than. It's just a little different location.
It's massive.
So like this,
Hollywood isn't this big, is it?
Yeah, it is. It's just they just disguise it very nicely.
It's just crazy how enormous.
Here it's just pushed over to the side. Is where in Hollywood is located. More like, can you move your finger over here?
Okay. Yeah, well, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. This one, there's a very long stretch out.
And that's because here there's an actual physical midway that doesn't exist in any of the other parks, which prevents it of being in front of the castle.
Yeah.
Besides, now it's behind the castle.
Yeah.
So yeah, imagine like a bit of a forest that's behind the castles, underneath the greenhouses.
It's a trip.
There, where the queue is located. So you would enter into the castle, and then you would walk through the lower part of the castle, and then into the Forbidden Forest. So yeah,
up. My Google Map has forsaken me. Okay.
I'm excited for Forbidden Journey. First of all, I want to just experience it in Mandarin. I think that's cool.
Forbidden Journey never gets old, so I look forward to having ridden it in every incarnation. Universal Studios Beijing will mark the 4th installation of Hogsmeade. It will mark the 4th installation of Transformers. There are some other things that it'll be the 4th here, but I can't remember what. Definitely the 4th Flight of Hippogriff, I guess.
Yeah.
Singapore is supposedly going to get Harry Potter eventually. I mean, I don't know where and I don't know when, but although maybe not. Actually, you know what? I think they're just getting. The last I had read was that they were getting Minions and they were getting Nintendo, but not necessarily Hogwarts, which seems a little of a surprise. But I mean, they know best. Chances are, if you're going to Universal Studios Singapore, you've already been to Hogwarts in one of the other resorts. Because, as we know, Universal Singapore is a playground for the ultra rich. So,
next up, let's move over to a very, very big land, Minion Land, which is the name of the land itself.
The lands are all quite large.
Includes the big neighborhood, kind of like Hollywood, but on steroids. And then it includes like a giant indoor Super Silly Funland.
Super Silly Funland is so neat the way that it's. I feel like this is sort of the spiritual successor to San Francisco, because of all the the way it's set up, like this little neighborhood, like city street. Super Silly Funland in the films is a boardwalk sort of amusement park setup. So the indoor Super Silly Funland area sits out, jutting out into the lagoon on stilts on a wharf, very fisherman's wharf style. So I'm kind of digging this area. I kind of love it more than I thought that I would. I didn't really think I would care. In fact, prior to doing more research in preparation for this podcast, I kind of thought that Super Silly Funland was the whole area, but it's really just a part of it.
I will admit, though, that I think the indoor area looks a little weird. It's not very polished. It's really easy to see that the roof is just a giant roof with steel structure. But they have another roller coaster in there, which is a decent
custom
size.
roller coaster.
It's about the size of Hippogriff.
The Hoopty Doopty, right?
Yes. Which is good. I mean, of course, they're going to have the Minion Dark Ride, and then they're going to have the Super Silly Funland area with a couple float rides and that roller coaster. Not too much to talk about, I don't think, but just, good.
It looks cool. I mean, if Minions are your thing,
Then I think the nice thing is that by building that midway all the way around Super Silly Funland, they created this giant area.
Yeah.
By, walking size-wise, despite it not being that large on the actual, map.
Yeah.
That's smart.
There's lots of Minion shopping and dining, I'm sure that will be.
Now, one area, so if you were to continue out of Minion Land, you would come back to Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
So, and directly across from Hollywood and the Lagoon, connecting from Wizarding World, Water World, Kung Fu Panda, Metro Base, literally every area imaginable.
We've encircled
is Jurassic World. Jurassic World is the center of the park
of the operation,
which is accessible from every other area, pretty much. So that's really cool. Home to two major attractions like rides, and then of course the Raptor Encounter meet and greet, and then a couple of restaurants, Discovery Center themed. And there's an expansion plot between Waterworld and the Wizarding World of Harry Potter that is earmarked for expansion of Jurassic World, maybe like a roller coaster or something. At least that's what is rumored and what we think is going to happen. Let's talk about the roller coaster. The roller coaster is a Mack
another Mack family coaster.
I know, hey, Mack. It's a Mack suspended Arthur-style family coaster.
It's big. I'm looking at it from the maps.
It serves as more of like a tour of the aviary and also like a prototype tour of Jurassic World.
The aviary is such an interesting part of this.
So the aviary is there because they need more indoor areas, but it's also themed to be like the aviary, and so this whole area is very much Jurassic World 1, and this is the aviary with the pterodactyls.
Yeah, pteranodons and things.
And so the ride starts inside, takes you outside through the rock works, where there's beautiful waterfalls, and then takes you back inside. There's also walkways through here.
The rock work, which is very prominently visible from all areas in the lagoon and stuff, it gives us very Volcano Bay vibes.
Yeah, with the way the waterfalls are set with the walkways.
It's quite pretty.
And then the biggest attraction really here is the
Jurassic World Dark Ride.
Jurassic World Dark Ride. So in order to get inside Jurassic World Dark Ride, you go into the Discovery Center-ish looking pyramid from the Jurassic World franchise in the Death Center of the park. And then there is a Transformers/Spider-Man type ride that takes you pretty much through the scenes of the first movie. So I'm almost getting I'm trying to think of what ride in Shanghai Disney is similar, where they're really telling you the story that was already told in the movie, kind of to make sure you get the point of it. So what happens is you board some sort of vehicle that was meant to be the gyrosphere, but the gyrosphere vehicle thing didn't work out.
They really wanted to do a gyrosphere dark ride. That was kind of the point of this ride. Unfortunately, the technology, it wasn't coming together like they had hoped, so they resorted to Plan B, which was the Spider-Man style ride, which is part of the reason why they've got two of these rides, because of course they've got Transformers, which is sort of the workhorse edition of this ride, and then they're using the very same ride system to bring this total unique Jurassic World experience to life.
So this ride is very, very heavy on the physical sets, but yeah, so there are scenes including going on a raptor hunt where Owen's on his motorbike. Of course, Indominus Rex makes an appearance. Jurassic Park gets shredded up by the dinosaurs running loose. The whole Jurassic Park story.
Definitely. Yeah, I think you're right in saying it's definitely physical sets. Because obviously Transformers is definitely more screen oriented. It's very space efficient, which is great, especially with the elevator setup. But I think this park, or this ride, is sort of this park's Spider-Man in the size and scope and prominence of it, I think.
Oh, most definitely. And you've already seen pictures of some of the scenes, and they are very focused on the physical sets. I'm just excited that this park includes something that's really unique. That's also like a major ride, because at the end of the day, I can't help but feel like besides Kung Fu Panda and Jurassic World, very much of this resort is going to just bring like e-tickets from other resorts together. And that was one of the things that made Shanghai Disney, in comparison, so great, is that Shanghai Disney had pretty much all original rides. Besides Soarin', there wasn't really an e-ticket that wasn't, kind of like an original.
Mm-hmm.
Either they were inspired by other rides. But here they are really just bringing over, like, Forbidden Journey, which I must admit is, like, the best ride. They're bringing over, like, a Hawkish clone. They're bringing over Transformers. They're bringing over...
They're making a lot. I mean, I would say it's like 50-50. There's definitely some safe choices, but there's also, I mean, bringing over Waterworld is great. Like, but then I feel like, the whole Kung Fu Panda and Minion area.
I think Kung Fu Panda, Jurassic World, and Minion are cool because they are Beijing exclusives. But I will say that there has never been a Wizarding World of Harry Potter that was built with the freedom of having space to build it, and I'm really excited to go here and have it be a bigger area and have it be a wider area and have it be located off on its own side of the park where it's not bleeding with other themes. I mean, at the end of the day, you can always hear the Harry Potter music in Jurassic Park in Iowa, and you can always hear Jurassic Park music in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, and you can always see some of the attractions around you, and the same goes for Hollywood. There's no escaping the fact that you can truly still like smashed in between buildings. The only one where I really felt like it was kind of secluded was Osaka, which is really cool. But I'm just excited for Beijing's to be its own thing and to be large and to be exciting like that. So I'm really excited for that.
Totally. Let's see here.
Is that a future map of the park?
When you Google Universal Studios Beijing, there is a really cool, very detailed mock-up of like what appears to be the master plan that includes the additional theme park, like
which looks very much like University of Florida.
Yeah,
literally. Even with the buildings on the water where the restaurants are at.
And then like Volcano Bay is here, and then the hotels, and you can even pick out like here's a Cabana Bay looking hotel, and like. They've got Sapphire Falls over here and some other stuff. It's just very Portofino looking. This is cool. There's a lot to take in here. I'm looking forward to seeing
we're
how this
definitely
all
going to see
pans
this
out.
resort becoming, I think, the size of Universal Orlando Resort. This is going to be Universal Orlando Resort, like the second
Well, at
coming
least certainly
of it.
the size of what Universal Orlando is currently.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, by the time this resort grows into itself...
Orlando will still be way bigger.
Yeah, we will have grown.
But the nice thing about these giant Chinese theme park resorts that Disney Universal are building is that they're going to have mass attendance.
Mm-hmm.
These numbers are going to be coming in and they're going to be expanding. And I'm excited to see what comes first. Where we're going to see another Jurassic World ride first. Are we going to see Hagrid first? Are we going to see Diagon? I wouldn't be surprised if that whole backside of the park is going to be Potter.
Yeah.
Where we're going to see Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, where we're going to see Diagon Alley and Escape from Gringotts. Like, there's so much space back there, guys, if you look on the maps right now.
It's pretty crazy.
It looks like the whole resort is designed to plop a bunch of Potter in there. And I'm all for it.
See them
personally.
do like a Hogwarts Express type attraction that doesn't actually take you anywhere, but does like
the similar thing.
Position you in such a way. Because I mean, the fact that you physically, literally cross a distance between the two areas of the Wizarding World in Orlando is really cool. But to replicate those areas, it wouldn't be necessary.
I mean, the cool thing is that they could literally put a train station on one side of Hogsmeade, circle it all the way around, and build another train station in Diagon Alley, or like, King's Cross, and like have it be like the same function except for not in between parks, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, long story short, I think Potter is where we're going to see a lot of growth, and I'm really excited to see. Universal Creative did mention sometime that they are still actively working on new Harry Potter rides. So I'm excited to see if maybe Beijing is gonna get some sort of like unique to them only Harry Potter ride. So we are forced to buy plane tickets even quicker because girl, I'm all over it.
Already pretty much at the top of the bucket list. So
yeah, we're excited to do because we haven't done Singapore yet. So our plan is to do it with Singapore.
We hit both and then get both of the Universal parks that we're missing at the same time. I guess we would also need to go to Port Aventura eventually. Who knows? Maybe we'll go this year.
We will see.
I've been to every park that Universal has ever owned at any point in time.
But yeah, that was a little tour of Universal Beijing Resort. I'm excited for it. I will probably visit in 2022, and that's I think currently the timeline, like fall 2022.
Goals.
So yeah, anything else you want to add that?
This is our first podcast with our new microphone. We hope it sounds better.
Our environment is weird. Like we set up a whole home studio, and then we last minute decided, literally as we were started recording, that we were gonna jump on a flight to Pittsburgh to get here earlier.
Flight attendant life.
That's how that went. So here we are recording in the hotel room.
But
let's hope no one woke up next to us.
Our last podcast, the sound quality was not good.
Yeah, if you're wondering why there was a week where we didn't have anything, even though we announced we'd have something, it's because our microphone broke mid-recording, and it was terrible.
We appreciate your understanding and patience.
And next week we're going to come back to the regular scheduled recordings. We're going to record several episodes in a row with Sven.
This is Sven
from Belgium.
Yeah.
All right, that was that. Have a great day from Belgium to Beijing. Thank you for listening to Cozy Kings Radio, and visit us on thecozykings.com.
Have a great night.
Bye.